Okay, welcome everybody, and welcome to some new people, first-time guests. Happy to see you guys, and welcome to everybody who always comes and who watches online also. Happy to see everybody. So we just in Toronto spent the last 3 days with Rav Shalom Arush, and what an amazing few days. Wow. I'm going to speak a little bit about it in a second when we get into what we've been learning. But during, I had this tremendous, amazing experience, thank you Hashem, to be Rabbi Arush's translator during his private meetings for the days, and hundreds of people came through. And so many times, besides all the miracles that happened, like obvious, unbelievably open miracles that came through. They saw him last year, and this year everything's fixed. These kind of crazy, insane miracles. So many times I saw very clearly the advice that Rav Arush was giving was very much from what we have been learning in this Torah. And a lot of it coming to fruition and seeing how it plays out in real life with various different situations and people. Totally amazing. So we'll look at that a little bit as we go. So I have to give a little bit more of an introduction today. So the way that this shiur works, pardon me, for the newcomers, is that we are going through the Likutei Moharan, which is the writings of Rabbi Nachman, all the way from the beginning. And there's almost 500 separate lessons in this. We're on number 6. And it's very, very, very deep and complicated and difficult. And Torah 6, I think, is probably going to take us 3 months to learn through this one lesson. 3 months of once a week lessons, an hour at a time. And it's very complicated. There's a lot of Kabbalah, there's a lot of things like this that we look at. And we are right now, right in the middle of lesson number 6 of Torah Vav, with a tremendous amount of material that came up to get us to this point. So if it's your first time today, it may be a little difficult to follow, to put everything together, but we're going to do our best. And we always try to bring out some relevant points, regardless of where we are in the whole flow of things. Also, the first, I think, 15 lessons in Likutei Moharan all contain within them, they're sort of patterned after, or they contain within them, an amazing, unusual story from the Gemara, Bava Basra. There's these stories over there that are called the Guzmais of Rabba bar Channa, and they're the stories brought in the Talmud, brought in the Gemara, that are totally, they make no sense whatsoever in practical reality. And the story goes that Rabba bar Channa came to Rabbi Nachman in a dream and told him, "Why have you not explained my stories? It's time for you now to explain my stories, and I will help you to understand them." So all these first 15 Torahs have within them one of these amazing wild stories. And we're just starting now in Torah Vav, this story from Rabba bar Channa that this whole entire lesson is patterned after. Okay, so we're going to get to that. But for our introduction, we'll just, instead of going through the whole entire Torah, which will take us probably 20 minutes, we'll maybe look at this sheet one more time, and with a little bit of explanation to get a sense of where we are. Here, I'll pause this when I get there. No, it's okay. Okay, so to start, we're gonna do a quick review, and we're gonna boil down the main idea of this shiur, of this whole lesson of Rabbi Nachman so far, into a very, 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 very practical idea that we can see in our own lives that fits every individual on an individual level and also on a global scale as well. Amazing, amazing idea. Okay, so everybody remembers that the Torah began by telling us that we have to raise up the honor of Hashem and lower down our own honor. We have to be humble. And we can't do both. If we raise up our own honor, the honor of Hashem goes down. If I raise up the honor of Hashem, I lower down my own honor. I become humble. I have to be humble to be able to do this. And that type of honor is called kavod elokim, godly honor. And the lower type of honor, if I honor myself, it's called kavod malachim. It's like a this world kind of honor, where it's false. And people don't really trust it. It's not real. It's not a real honor. Yeah. So that's how we started. And then we said that this honor, the way that we accomplish this, is this being humble. It helps us to do tshuva, and we can only do tshuva if we're humble in this way. And we explained that the main way that this happens, the biggest aspect of tshuva is for a person to hear their own bizyonis, their own embarrassment, and remain yidon v'yishtak, silent. Silent within and silent on an outward way as well. Remain silent. And this really, I know it doesn't sound like it yet, we didn't explain it yet, is really like the key to a person's entire existence. Literally the key to a person's entire existence. So, to remain silent. And when we remain silent in this way, that's the main aspect of tshuva. And that opens us up to a higher level connection with Hashem. And so, we said also that you have to be, in order to be able to accomplish all these things that we want to accomplish and to get to such high levels of connection to Hashem, we have to be a baki b'halacha. Not an expert in Jewish law, but an expert in halacha, in moving. We have to know how to move up, and we have to know how to move down. We have to know that when things are going really good in a certain area of our lives, there's a way to be. There's a way to exist. There's a way to do avodas Hashem when things are amazing, right? But then sometimes, and regularly, it happens to us all, and it's going to keep happening to us all. We're also going to go down, right? And when we're down, there's another way of existence. There's another way to behave. There's another avodas Hashem, right? And it's different. And we have to be experts in both of those ways to be able to always do tshuva and always connect to Hashem. Okay, so we then brought this idea over here that we see with the letter Aleph over here. And we said like this. The letter Aleph contains many things within it. First of all, it's made up of a Yud and a Vav, which together make Yud is 10, and 6 is 26, which is the gematria of the name of Hashem, Yud Ke Vav Ke. And Hashem is called the Alufo Shel Olam. He's the boss, the leader, the general of all of the existence. So we said that these represent different aspects. The lower Aleph represents being humble, represents making myself small, right? And being silent, right? It almost doesn't exist. It's the smallest letter. It's humility. It's remaining silent. It's not reacting. And the upper Aleph, the upper Yud of the Aleph, represents the highest level of existence, which is the realm of Keser. The realm of Keser is a hidden realm. It's not something that we can tangibly put our hands onto. It's even above thought, above thinking, it's above emotion. It exists way up in the realm of ratzon, of only will, desire. It's a very, very high level of existence. Like we said last week, hishtoikakus, longing, is an aspect of Keser. But Keser is totally, it's the uppermost realm, right? It's not physical, it's not even intellectual. It's just absolutely way above everything. And it's something that level of existence of Hashem, we're not able to really tap into, we're not able to understand, and we're not even allowed to really try to understand it, because it's so elevated. So it's also, in a sense, it's like it's covered over. It's hidden. It's also small, right? It's silence also. So it's also represented by a Yud, right? We have our action in this world of being in the realm of of Yud, which means to be humble and to be silent. And then we have that totally unattainable existence, which basically we can't even put our finger on. We can't even point to it. So it's also just a point. And the Vav in the middle, if you remember, represented the idea of the sky, the Rakia, and represented the idea of what's with the sky. So the Vav, which represents Rakia, represents the idea of the sky changing colors. You know, the sky changes from red in the morning, pink, blue, white. All the colors are included in the sky. And the sky changes colors. The middle Vav represents the embarrassment that I face, represents this aspect of being embarrassed. So the Yud is remaining silent, the Vav is the embarrassment, and the Yud is that connection to the uppermost places of Hashem. Right? Just like when the sky changes colors and it's the thing in the world that shows us all of the colors in existence, so too when a person gets embarrassed, their face changes colors. We go from red to white. We go pale, completely pale. Then we blush and turn completely red. Right? This is the aspect of embarrassment, just like the sky. And we had this amazing idea. I had one thing that I didn't tell you last week, by the way, that's so amazing. So Vav, the letter Vav, why is it connected to Rakia? Why is it connected to the sky, to the Rakia? So the letters of Rakia also spell Iker. Iker means the main aspect of something, right? And if you can see this in the chart, in the little writing there in the middle section, Rakia equals Iker. And Iker is also another name of the Sphira of Yesod, foundation. Iker, foundation, right? Yesod, foundation. And Yesod is the sixth of the middle spheres in the Kabbalistic order, right? 6, and the letter Vav is 6, right? So Vav is the sixth sphera, which is Yesod, which is Iker, which is Rakia. They all come together in this way. And we also see, in another place, Rabbi Nachman explains that one of the main aspects of embarrassment is aspects relating to the realm of intimacy, right? Physical intimacy. And if you think about it for even a short time, everyone will realize that this is one of the most private, intimate acts that we do and can create the most embarrassment. It's always, we don't want people seeing, it always has to be in private, and if anyone would be caught in something like that, it would be the worst embarrassment. You see famous celebrities, presidents, everybody who gets involved in something to do with acting in the wrong way when it comes to intimacy, it's the worst embarrassment in the world, right? So it's a very big aspect of this. Yosef HaTzadik, everybody knows Yosef HaTzadik, was the example in the Torah of the person who overcame in this realm. He was faced with Potiphar's wife trying to pull him in to have physical relations with him over and over again, every day, giving him the biggest challenge, right? And he stood up to it and he overcame it. And that's why he's basically the only one of our forefathers who's called HaTzadik, Yosef HaTzadik, right? Not Avram HaTzadik, not Yitzchak HaTzadik, not Moshe HaTzadik even. Yosef HaTzadik, Noach also. And also, why is Noach HaTzadik also? Because he was the one who remained pure and remained connected to Hashem in the Dor HaMabul, the generation of the flood, which was the main aspect that was going on over there, was also all these perversions in the realm of physical intimacy. And people were with other couples, other wives, other same-sex animals. Everything was going on at that time. That was the pagam of that generation. The Torah says, Hishchis kol basar. All of the flesh destroyed itself. Flesh meaning this aspect, right? So Noach HaTzadik and Yosef HaTzadik. Also Boaz was called a tzaddik. If you remember the story of Rus, so the same thing happened with Boaz, right? He was able to deal with that same situation and hold himself off, and he's also called a tzaddik. So tzaddik fits this realm of doing the right thing in the face of embarrassment also. Yosef HaTzadik. So the Vav is the sixth sphera. The Vav also relates to Yosef. Why Yosef? Because he was the one who was able to overcome in this realm of that sphera. which is Yesod, which is bris. Right? So Yosef is the letter Vav. So what's so amazing also is you see there's this amazing way that you can see in Kabbalah the names of our forefathers and how they relate to names of Hashem, that if you see them all, and one time I'll give just a class on Kabbalistic names of Hashem and the names of our forefathers, which is mind-blowing, but you couldn't make this up. The name Yosef, if you take the gematria of Yosef and you times it by 6, welcome, come in, and you times it by 6, 6 times Yosef, 6 times Yosef is Yud Kei Vav Kei. Exactly. Take Yosef's name, 6 times Yosef is Yud Kei Vav Kei in this way. Sorry, the other way around. Yosef is 6 times Yud Kei Vav Kei. Exactly. Yosef's name is 6 times the gematria of Yud Kei Vav Kei. And he is that 6th sphera of Yesod, of Kedusha, Shmiras HaBris. And anyway, that's how he relates to this over here. So what do we have? We have this whole existence of facing embarrassment and remaining silent and not reacting and connecting to the highest levels of Hashem. Okay? That's what the Aleph tells us. That's what this leading up to now, basically the whole shiur was about. So the one aspect that really, really hit me very hard that I thought about with relation to this is that, does anybody here, how many times have you been standing in front of someone and they're just giving it to you, giving you tremendous embarrassment? A lot? Yeah? Really? Okay. Happens to everyone a lot? I don't think it happens a lot. But it happened to me a few times. Just like telling you, saying things to you, embarrassing things to you right to your face. You're this, you're that, you're the... Right? Does that happen a lot?
Not a lot.
No? Maybe with certain people. Okay, maybe it's time to meet new people. Right? Okay, so maybe for some people it happens a lot, but I don't think it's the most common thing in your life. Right? Right? And if you ever get to be in that situation and you get to perform this, it happened to me at least once, a literal situation like that. And it's a very, very high-level existence to be able to stand there and hear something like this and remain silent. So the question is, how does it apply to the rest of my life? What does it have to do with what Rabbi Nachman taught us over here? That I have to be a baki b'halacha, baki b'ratzoi, baki b'shoev. I have to know how to exist when I'm getting higher, and I have to know how to exist when I'm getting lower. How does it all work together? And how does it apply to me on a regular basis? So the idea is like this. I believe this to be true. I haven't seen it written down, but I believe this to be what we're saying over here. So we mentioned last time, whenever we get into something, let's take it, welcome Marcia. Whenever we get into a situation, even if we get into an argument with somebody, right? That's a point where we face suddenly a place of difficulty, where I feel like I'm being threatened in some way. Either my ego is being threatened, or my way of thinking is being threatened. And what is my temptation? What do I have to do? I have to stand up, I have to fight back. I have to say, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. I'll tell you why I'm right. And I need to fight back. What is that? That's my ego. That's my ego standing up and either saying from a pure ego perspective, I'm right, and I can't handle that you're telling me I'm wrong. Right? That's plain, obvious ego. We mentioned this last time. The other aspect of ego, in like modern psychology, is this aspect of the ego that's a protector. There's also this concept of like inner child, right? We all have a part of us that is like our innocent, vulnerable self. And the other time the ego comes up is when that innocent, vulnerable self feels threatened. So the protector ego comes up to protect that innocent aspect of ourselves. And to say, no, you cannot hurt me in this way. You can't speak to me in this way. I'm going to stand up and fight back against you because I need to protect my innocent, vulnerable part, right? But in all these cases, we get into a situation where we feel threatened in some way, and what do? We react. and we start fighting. We start arguing and talking back, right? So this is this exact situation of facing embarrassment. Because what's embarrassment? Embarrassment means that I feel that something that's happening is saying something bad about me. It's also attacking me on an ego level. I feel like something should be a certain way, and that I have a certain stature, and you're doing something that is hurting me in that way. It's knocking me down, it's making me feel less, right? It's also because I have an ego, I'm able to be embarrassed. And in all of these cases, I feel like I'm being threatened, I'm facing difficulty, so I fight back. Where else do we see this? And this is I think the most important part, is we see this, our whole life always is going to be going up and going down, and going up and going down. Hopefully we go up and then we hit a challenge. Then we go up a little higher, and then we hit another challenge. Then we go up a little higher and we hit another challenge. And hopefully, as we go, we're always working on ourselves and lowering that ego so that the lows are shorter. And we're able to deal with them on an easier way, right? So our whole life is like this. In other words, we're going through our lives on a big picture perspective. Our entire life, we're going through and we're experiencing, all of a sudden something happens and it's like I'm threatened, I'm scared, I'm embarrassed. Why? Because of that ego is being threatened. That vulnerable part of me is being threatened. So what do I need to do? What do I feel like I need to do? I need to fight back. Either I need to yell at the people around me, or I need to yell at Hashem, I need to be angry at Hashem. I need to do something. I can't just remain silent. Right? Everybody hearing this? Does it make sense? So what's the mind-blowing, amazing part of this teaching? And it fits to all of these aspects. Is that the ikar tshuva, the main aspect of tshuva in all these realms, is to be silent. It's to be yidon v'yishtak, to be silent on the inside and silent on the outside. So that means when someone comes to me, specifically and certainly a spouse, when my spouse comes to me and we start to have an argument, right? And things start to flare up. Why in the world would I want to start arguing and fighting back and continuing an argument? Right? What is that going to accomplish? First of all, what am I doing? Why am I even doing that? I know it's not going to work. It's just going to, right? It's the stupidest thing in the world for someone to do, right? So what should I do? I remain silent. I don't fight back. I don't hold it in. I just remember that whatever's coming to me in my life is a message from the Ribbon Hashem, is a message from Hashem. Whatever's happening to me is a message from Hashem. And if I start to yell at this person, it's like this mashal that I'll probably say every single class I ever give for the rest of my life. But it has to be said that Rav Levi Yitzchak Bender used to say, the Breslov leader in Mea Sharim in the past generation, used to say when someone comes with a stick to hit a dog, right? The dog starts flaring its teeth and biting the stick, right? And you can see someone saying, "No, the dog is biting the stick." Why? Because the dog has no seichel. The dog has no wisdom. He starts biting the stick. He's foolish. What should he be doing if he was a smart dog? If he was a hot dog? If he was a smart dog? What should he do? He should go and bite the guy. Then the guy will stop hitting him or run away, right? That's what a seichel-dik dog would do. But that's not what a dog does, right? So too by us. If I start to see something coming to me like this, and I feel all of a sudden that I need to fight back, I have to remember, what are you fighting with the messenger for? Don't shoot the messenger, we always say, right? What are you fighting with the stick? What are you biting the stick for? Hashem is giving you a message. Don't get mad at this person. Don't fight with this person. That's not what you're supposed to do, right? Rather, I'm going to remain silent. I'm going to remain silent on the inside and the outside, and I'm going to be thankful that I'm receiving a message from Hashem, and I'm going to do whatever I can to figure out what it is. And being silent, by the way, does not mean being resentful, and does not mean holding it in and being like, and in the back of my mind being like, yeah, I'm remaining silent, but that person is wrong, and they're this, and they're that, and they're this, and they're that. That's not what it means. It means really to say, I know that the right thing for me to do is to understand that this is from Hashem, and to not react and not be angry. Certainly not to be angry, and to remain silent. Then the argument will finish very quickly, and people will separate, and be much, 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 much easier to come back together and work things out. And if both people in a relationship are in this mind frame, it's Gan Eden, right? You can't. It's a very deep Torah about this. I won't get into it, but when there's an argument between a husband and wife, and both of those two go to talk to Hashem instead of yelling at each other, what do you think happens? If they both, with a full heart, go to talk to Hashem and come back together, right? That's a beautiful relationship. That's Gan Eden. But that comes from remaining silent in that situation. What's the other aspect? When I'm going through my life and all of a sudden I'm faced with challenges, difficulties, pain, suffering, whatever it is. So in Olam Hazeh, I can be angry at people for what for how I think they're causing me to get into the situation. And I can yell at them and I can scream at them. That's also not being silent. But there's another aspect, which is, do I get angry at Hashem then? And do I start yelling at Hashem? Do I start yelling to Hashem? You've got it wrong, Hashem, right? If I'm ever angry, ever, it means because I think I'm smarter than Hashem. It means that I don't think that what's happening to me right now is the right thing. And if I know that everything that happens to me is from Hashem, and right now I'm angry, it means I think that Hashem has it wrong. And I've got it right. That's what it means. So, Yidon v'yishtoik doesn't just mean just be quiet and take it and be a doormat. It means no, I'm going to remain silent, and I'm going to realize that in this situation that Hashem is speaking to me. And I'm going to do whatever I can to connect with Hashem and to get what I need to get out of this situation, to fix what I need to fix, receive what I need to receive, to be able to go from the low back up to the high. And there's a very big difference from, one of the things that Rabbi Arush always says is that you have to always thank Hashem for everything that happens to you. Leah was just talking about this right before we started. By the way, when you got a flat tire today, Leah thanked Hashem for you. Leah thanked Hashem for your flat tire. So. Right? Because what am I doing then? I'm thanking Hashem is an actualization of my emunah. It means that I'm verbalizing and I'm saying with a full heart that I get it, that this is for me from Hashem. Right? Thank you, Hashem, for giving me this. I know that this is something that's good for me. I just don't know it. I don't know what it is. I heard Rav Arush say over and over again, Hashem sees something that we don't see. Hashem knows what's happening, something that we don't know. Hashem knows what we need to learn, what we need to understand, what we need to grow, what's actually not good for us, even in the physical world, right? Sometimes we think that we need all this money so we can buy this and we can buy that and we can buy this and we can buy that. Meanwhile, accumulating all of this gashmias is going to turn me into a terrible person. Right? Hashem knows something that we don't know. So, living with complete emunah shlema, is this aspect of Yidon v'yishtaik, of remaining silent and not being angry with Hashem, not yelling at Hashem, thanking Hashem for everything that we have, right? And so too with every relationship, so too with every argument, so too with everything that I face, and so too with facing my embarrassment in a literal sense, right? So this letter Aleph here, and this Torah in this way is really, in my opinion, like a guide for life. A guide to live with peace, a guide to live with emunah, a guide to connect to Hashem, a guide to see Hashem in the world. And this is where I say thank you to Hashem that we have Rav Shalom Arush, who takes this stuff that we've been working on for a few months now, and that we are going into extreme depth, and he shows us and tells us, oh, you know, that whole big thing that you learned, this is what you got to do. Practically, this is going to help you. This is going to give you emunah. This is going to change your life. This is going to make you feel better. And yes, I'm a little on fire with the teachings of Rav Arush after the last few days. And I'm just telling you, I see over and over again, everybody who comes in contact with the book, The Garden of Emunah, everyone says, this changed my life. Changed my life. And there are people who are Jewish, not Jewish, religious, not religious, you name it. Anybody in the world gets in contact with the teachings of Rav Shalom Arush, and I was his translator, and the going joke was, I never have to translate the words, you changed my life, because he hears it all the time, and he knows what it means. People at this table, by the way, have told me they've had this experience also. Right? So, anyway, back to the points. This is where we're holding in this Torah. This is where we're holding up till now in Likutei Moharan Torah Vav, and I'm very thankful that we've been able to learn to this point in this Torah. And we're now gonna take all of those concepts that we learned, and see how they fit into this wondrous story from Rabba Channa in the Gemara Bava Basra. So this is in the handout. It's on page 276. If you wanna see. Okay. So Zok Rabbeinu, V'zei Perush. This is the explanation of Amar Rabba Bar Channa. Rabba Bar Channa said, Zim Nachada Havaz Linan B'Midbara. One time we were walking in the desert. V'chazinan Hane Avaze de Shmitin Gadfaihu. And I saw that there were these geese that were losing their feathers. Mishamnaihu, because of their fat. They were so fat that it was causing their feathers to fall out. V'ka nagdi nachale de mashcha mitusaihu. And I saw that there were also rivers of fat flowing underneath them. Ve'amina lahu, and I said to them, I asked them, Isli minaychu chulka la'alma da'asi? Will I have a chelik in olam haba? In the world to come? Will I have a place in the world to come? Chada dalia li atma. So one of them lifted up a wing to be like to show him, like about that much olam haba you're going to have. Chada dalia li gadfa. And one of them lifted up a foot and said, no, like that much. Ki asai lakame de Rabbi Elazar. And when I came in front of Rabbi Elazar, Amarli, he said to me, Asidin Yisrael litein alehem esadin. In the future, the Bnei Yisrael are going to have to face a judgment because of these geese that they were fattening up to such an extent that they would lose their feathers. And that's the story. So you see what I mean? It's like these, and there's many of these stories, and we've seen 5 of them already, and we're going to see more, that they're totally out there and very, very difficult to understand. So this is why Rabba Bar Channa came to Rabbi Nachman in a dream and said, why have you not explained my stories yet? And that's why we have this beautiful Torah. So let's just see on the side, the commentary of the Rashbam. In the Gemara Bava Basra at this point, there is no Rashi commentary. Instead is the commentary of the Rashbam. So he says, the Shmitin Gadfaihu, that they were losing their feathers. Naflu noitzer shalahem meroiv shuman. Their feathers were falling out because of their tremendous fat. Dalya li gadfa. Higbia li hakanaf. He lifted up his wing for me. Ramaz zeu chelkacha l'asid lavai. This is going to be. He was hinting to me when he lifted up his wing that this much is going to be your portion in olam haba. Litein eleim esadin. They're going to have to pay a judgment for this. Shebechatasam misakev Mashiach. So says the Rashbam, an interpretation, not a direct translation, that because of the sins of the Jewish people, they're pushing off the coming of Mashiach. V'yesh lehem tsar balei chayim, and they have tsar balei chayim, pain, la'oisan avazim, to these geese, machmas shumnam, because of their fat. Okay. Everybody got it? Everybody makes sense of the story? We can all go home now? Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. I really wonder, like, how do people deal with this story if they don't have, Panemius Torah, Kabbalah? Like, what do you open a Gemara if you don't learn this kind of thing? Okay, let's go. So now we're going to see how Rabbi Nachman explains this. Okay, Shehalach. So he was going in the desert, he said, right? Lachkor b'mida hatoiva shel anova. Rabba Channa was moving and working to uncover, to research, to understand the tremendously positive character trait of humility, of being a humble person. Sha'adam mesim atzmai kamidbar ladosh, that a person makes himself into like a desert. To be like a desert is walked upon, it's sand, it's nothingness. There's nothing in the desert. A person makes them like a desert, makes themselves like a desert. Shakol dashin alav, that everyone walks on him, walks on the desert. Right, everybody knows the famous idea, we heard this, everybody, right, Matan Torah time, that the Torah, all kids know this even, that the Torah had to be given in the desert, because the desert is a place that's humble, and the Torah can only be given to humble people, right? There's nothing in the desert. On a low mountain, Mount Sinai was humble also, right? The desert is humble, that's what Rabba Channa was looking into. V'ra chachamim, and what did he see? He saw chachamim, wise men, wise people. V'zeh b'chinas avaze, and this is what the geese are referring to. Just like Chazal say, Zichronim Livracha, Haroya Avaz B'chaloim Yitzape L'chachma. I don't know if anybody knows this. There's a section in the Gemara Brachas that talks about things that you see in a dream and what it means is coming to you. And it says in this section of the Gemara and Brachas, if you see a goose or geese in your dream, it means that there's going to be wisdom coming to you, right? So geese are representative in the Gemara of wisdom.
Those geese are chachamim?
They represent chachamim, yeah. Right? So that's what he saw. Though the geese represent chachamim, represent wise people. The shmitin gad faihu, so that means that they were losing their wings, their feathers. Perish Rashi says, noitzos, their feathers, noitzos. Right? Everybody knows that word, modern Hebrew speakers? It's correct, right? Notzot. Yeah, okay. Feathers. Notzot. Zeh mechinas machlekes uvizyonos. That is referring to machlekes, arguments, and bizyonos, and embarrassment. K'moshe Kasuv, I bet the Hebrew speakers didn't put this together. Ki yinatzu anashim. The Torah says in Parshas Mishpatim, I think, Ki yinatzu anashim, when people will fight, battle. Nun Sadik has to do with argument, machlokes, and fighting. So the feathers, notzot, that refers to this aspect of fighting and machlokes. Ki yinatzu anashim. So what are the feathers? What were they doing falling out? Hainu, she'ein mashgichim ala machlokes v'abezyonis shemavazi noisan. They didn't pay attention to. They didn't let it bother them. They didn't get upset about the machlokes, the arguments, and the embarrassment that people were embarrassing them. V'shoimim cherpasam v'einam mashivim, and they would hear their own embarrassment and they would not answer back. V'al shem hashtika nikraim chachamim, and it's because of this silence that they had that they're called chachamim. That's what makes a person wise, like it says in Pirkei Avos. Everyone knows this one. Siag lachachma shtika, a fence for wisdom, a guarding, something that guards you, that keeps you a wise person, makes you a wise person. A person is shtika, is silence. There's deep Torah on that idea. Very deep Torah. But if you want to be a wise person, silence is what we're looking for. Siag lachachma shtika. Ki ashtika hi bechinas keser. Because why? Because shtika is also this aspect of keser. So do you remember what we said before? The high sphere of keser? How it's like beyond our ability to attain, right? And it's something that we can't understand. We can't really talk about it, right? We really can't talk about it. In the Sifrei Kabbalah, we said last week that about these levels, these high levels, and you'll be reading in the Sfarim of Kabbalah, and it'll say, "Ve'ein lanu reshus ledaber al zeh." We're not allowed to talk about this. We don't speak higher than this place, right? It's above everything. It's above existence, above physicality, above. Speech is physical, way above everything. Ki al yedei hashtika. So what does he say over here? He's going to explain another way that it's related to keser. Ki al yedei hashtika zoichin l'tshuva, because it's also through shtika, through our silence, that we merit to do tshuva. Shehi bechinas keser, which tshuva is keser. V'zeh bechinas siag l'chachma shtika, and this is what it means that a fence for wisdom is shtika. Siag daika, specifically a siag. What's a siag? A fence, right? Zeh bechinas keser. What does keser mean? Keser means crown. A crown is like a fence around your head, right? Keter, sorry. Is that what you said? Yeah. Keter is a crown. It's like a fence that goes around above your head. Shu bechinas siag v'gader, which is like a fence, or another kind of fence, saviv, that goes around your head. Shemesavev umachtir umaatir es hachachma, that it surrounds and crowns, and another kind of crowns, chachma, wisdom. It's above wisdom in that way. Zeh hakeser, that is the crown, the keter. Shu bechinas siag, it's like a fence. It's like like in the same way that a crown is a fence. It's like a fence around the brain, around chachma. Naiseh mehashtika, and it comes from this aspect of being silent. Do you remember in our Aleph? Do you remember in the whole thing that we're talking about? When we do this, when we're yidam v'yishtoik, when we're facing these difficulties, we have us on the bottom, being silent and small like this yud, and we have the difficulties we're facing in the middle, the embarrassment and the tribulations, the vav, and we have the keser on the top, the other yud, the other small point of keser, the other yud. So what do we have? We have my silence is connecting me, is allowing me to do this tshuva and connect to this level of keser. Unbelievable. And this is what it means that the way you're going to get to chachma, the trick to get to chachma, the fence to get to chachma, is shtika. V'zeh lashon deshmitin, and this is what it means over here. So the Rabbi Nachman said, the story said, the Shmitin Gadvaihu. So it's Aramaic, right? It's a little hard to understand. Shmitin Gadvaihu, Shmitin, who can think of a place where the shorish of Shmitin comes from? Shmita, right? So there's two aspects of Shmita here that he's going to speak about. V'zeh lashon the Shmitin. Shmitin means they lost their feathers. K'moshe Kasuv, Shamoit kol bal Masha Yadai. So what happens when it comes to the year of Shemitah? What happens? Let's say you have a person who owes a certain amount of money to another person, right? At the year of Shemitah, all the debts are canceled. So that debt that he owed to a person, it's shamoit. It goes down. It's canceled, right? It doesn't, in a sense, it doesn't react. I want to see how he translates it over here. The creditor will shamot any debt owed to him. That means that he cannot take it. He has to give it up. He has to give it up. The person who's owed the money has to give it up. Shamot kol bal masha yadai. Hainu sheloi yitba el boinai. He's not allowed to demand what he thinks he deserves. He's not allowed to demand based on his and in our realm, based on his humiliation. He's not allowed to go against to fight back and to ask and to to try and stop his own humiliation. Just like the person who's owed the money is not allowed to collect it. You hear? V'zeh perush mishmanai. Everybody get that? So what's causing their feathers to be lost is this aspect of them not. The feathers falling is the noitzos, is the machlokes. They are the people, they are the chachamim. Why are they chachamim? Because they're not paying attention to that aspect of feathers being lost, which was machlokes. They're not paying attention to people complaining against them. They're not paying attention to people fighting against them. And they're not trying to react and to be toveya what's happening to them, to stop what's happening to them. Rather, and I don't know why he didn't say it in this way, they're acting like Shemitah. What happens in Shemitah? You don't do anything. In Shemitah time, you're not allowed to go out into the fields and do any work. You just have to let them lie as they are. Right? That's what this person's doing. That's why they're chachamim. That's why they're able to get to this level. V'zeh perush mishmanaihu, and this is what it means from their fat. Because of their fat, they weren't able. They were losing their feathers. Miloshan, shamanta avisa. So Torah says shamanta avisa means that they got so fat and they kicked against Hashem. Kloimar machmas she'oichazin atzmam bebechinas shamanta avisa. Okay, I'll say that in a second. Hainu b'shvil zeh shoymim cherpasam ve'inam meshivim. So it's like this. Shamanta avisa. There's a couple times in the Torah where it talks about that the Bnei Israel got fat. Right? He's going to say over here also, where we got fat, and then what happened when we got fat? We started complaining, and we started not behaving the way we were supposed to. Right? He's going to say another pasuk over here. In other words, it means, when the Torah says this, that we got fat, it means that we weren't acting the way we were supposed to be. We were doing the wrong things. We were going after money and after power and all these things that we weren't supposed to be doing. We were behaving in the wrong way. That's what the Torah means when it says that we got fat, right? So, why were these chachamim able to be silent and able to become chachamim and to connect on this deep level and to do this tshuva? Why? Because they viewed themselves as if the Torah is talking to them. Meaning, follow me here, meaning that they viewed themselves as being in this situation of I'm not doing everything right. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So therefore, whatever is happening to me is meant for me. It's Hashem talking to me. Because I'm not perfect, because I don't think I'm the best in the world, right? And I know that I have issues to deal with. I'm not a Bal Gaiva. I don't think that I'm the king of the world and I'm totally perfect. So therefore, I know that whatever's happening to me is meant for me and is a message for me from Hashem to help me to become a better person. We know that everything that comes from Hashem is for my good, right? And we know that everything happens to me is from Hashem. So then it has to be, when I face something, a difficulty, I know that it's from Hashem. I know it's for me. I know it's for my good. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to fight. I'm just going to do what I have to do. So this is what we're saying over here. It's because they viewed themselves in this way, Shamanta Avisa, that they were able to get to this level. That's what he says. Because they held about themselves that they were Shamanta Avisa, that they had become fattened and didn't do everything exactly right. They weren't perfect. That's why they were able to hear their own embarrassment and not answer back, not fight back. Because they know that what's happening to them is to help them do tshuva on the averas that they did. Vayishman Yeshurun, like the pasuk says, that Yeshurun grew fat. Bechinas hashmein lev, an aspect of their heart became fattened. Ve'aznav, and their ears became fattened. Pen yireh, lest they should see. Do you remember this? We said earlier on, what are the three aspects of tshuva? What happens? Why do we have to do tshuva? Lest our hearts should get fat, and then our ears will hear and our eyes will see. We said that the tshuva needs to be in these three ways. And the first aspect is that our hearts can't be fat in this way. And I saw that there was these flowings of fat coming from below them. Hainu, al yedei hashtika, through their silence, zoichin lechavod eloki. They merited to have this aspect of godly honor. Shehu bechinas shemen, which is this aspect of shemen. So, I saw that there was fat, oil beneath them, right? Godly honor, the highest level of honor, is connected to shemen, which is oil or fat. How so? Like the pasuk says, Ahavta tzedek v'tisna resha. Hashem loves righteousness and hates evil. Al kain mashachacha. Therefore, He anoints you. A person who is righteous and not evil, they are anointed. How is a Jewish king anointed? With what? With shemen, with oil. Right? V'zeh bechinas melech hakavod. And this is what it means, the melech hakavod. is anointed with oil. So in other words, through this whole process, right, I want you to think about a person like this. And think about such a tzaddik, such an amazing person. A person who has internalized this and who lives like this. Think about yourself if you've internalized this and what a different person you are, right? And how you live life in a totally different way. And things are pleasant. And I'm not angry. And I feel at peace. And I feel smooth. I feel connected to Hashem. I feel I'm getting messages, right? I'm living in a totally different world, right? That is a person who is like anointed, who's living in with a different kind of kavod, a different kind of honor, a beautiful, amazing way to live. And that's what we're talking about over here. That's the goal of all these things, is for us to be able to figure out a way to understand how to totally change our lives and to totally live in a different world, right? One more Rabbi Arush statement that he said a few times, as he said, there's a world before you read the Garden of Emunah, and after you read the Garden of Emunah, there's a different world. You live in a different world. If you really read it and internalize it, you know?
You not change the world, you change your mindset of the world.
Right. Perspective. 100%. Let me just finish the 2 lines here and we'll be finished off. So it said, "V'amina lahu," and I asked them, "Isli menaychu l'chukal de'olam dasi." Do I have a portion in Olam Haba? I asked these geese. Chada dalya li ato. One lifted up its wing. Ze bechinas v'ha'aret. Sorry, one lifted up its foot. One lifted up its foot. Ze bechinas v'ha'aretz hadaim raglai. What was its feet showing me? You really had to be here in the lessons preceding this to get this. But the lowest one of these yuds, the humbleness, was representing this aspect in the vision of Yecheskel, that v'tachas raglov kamaisa livnas asapir, was this tiny sapphire brick under the footstool of Hashem. V'ha'aretz hadim raglai, and the earth is called the footstool of Hashem, meaning underneath, at the bottom, this small thing is called the footstool of Hashem. Hadom raglai, right? And we said the most important part is we need to take hadom, dome, which means hadom means footstool, and turn it into dome, into demima, into silence, right? So he lifted up his foot to show me how's going to be my portion in Olam Haba. You got to be in this realm of silence. You got to be in this realm of the footstool of Hashem. Hadom raglai. Remember that it's either dam or dome. It's either your blood is boiling, it's either tuma or negativity or murder. It's either dam, you can live like this, make the choice. Do you want to be someone who's always got their blood boiling, who's always living in tuma and negativity? Or do you want to be doim, a person who lives in peaceful silence? Right? So that's what he did. He lifted up his foot, the chacham, the goose. That's the lower nekuda point of the aleph. And one lifted up its wing. That is referring to the kisei, which is keser. Kisei means throne. Like the pasuk says, okay, like this. Kisei is throne, and it means keser. Everybody remembers that keser is covered up. And we said that why is keser related to kisei? Because kisei is the iskasya. In Aramaic, I don't know if it's ever used in Hebrew, but iskasya means covered over, hidden, right? Iskasya, kisei is hidden. And this aspect of kanaf, of wing. How do you see this by wing also? Once again, I bet the Hebrew speakers have never heard this. Maybe. Velo yikanef oid marecha. I will no longer cover up. Your teacher will no longer cover himself up. Right? Lo yikanef. It comes from, the concept is, a wing. A bird like covers over with its wing, right? So it means to cover up also. Ze bechinas hanekuda elyoina. That's the upper point of the aleph. Hainu sheheru l'Rabba bar Chana. They were showing to Rabba bar Chana shegam hu zacha leilu bechinos, that he also merited these high levels of existence. He used his silence, which is the footstool, hadoim, doim, damima, silence, and he was able to get to the covered up nature, the hidden nature of the highest levels of existence. Kanaf, covered up. Kisei, iskasia, covered up. Keser. He also, this is what the geese were showing to him, with foot and wing. So we have to stop here, because we've been an hour now. So, within the Torah that we're learning right now, this was a very technical kind of text-based, really technical piece. So we're gonna probably have one more class that's gonna be really more technical before we get to the part at the end of this Torah, which is 100 times more mind-blowing than anything we've seen so far. So Be'ez Hashem, we'll all get there. Any questions?
So it's great what we said the first half about we're humans and Torah and Chalakha.
And what?
Torah and Chalakha tell us not to deny our emotions as humans. We're supposed to feel sad. We're supposed to feel angry. We're supposed to feel whatever we're supposed to feel at different times. So if we're supposed to have a relationship with the Abishter the same way we do with the human beings, then we have to get angry at him. We have to get sad with him. We have to get happy with him.
I would like to see where you've ever seen that a person should be angry. It's the one midah that the Rambam says. The Rambam says it should never happen.
So if you're getting angry for the purpose of education,
that's different though. That's not really. That's not really getting angry. That's behaving in an angry way for education. That's not you getting angry, for sure not. You being angry, 100%. If you need to teach your child something, and you stand up and you put on a strong face, and you say, "Hey, you can't do that," and if you do that, you're going to be in trouble, and there's going to be this, and maybe you got to send them to the room. That was a send to the room. Don't worry. Or maybe you got to give them a patch if you were 50 years ago, or in certain communities, I don't know, right? Yeah, you got to do that, right? But if you do that out of your blood boiling, right, it's an absolute avera. Absolute, right?
It's for the purpose of doing something positive.
Right. Yeah, but it's also,
so same thing.
It's not that I can't control myself. If I can't control myself, and it's my anger that is bubbling up and my blood's boiling everywhere, in Pirkei Avos we see this, in all of the Svarim, in the Rambam 100%. You cannot allow your anger to well up in you and overtake you. You can put on a strong face, for sure.
No, but
right?
If you deny that anger and you deny your negative emotions to a certain extent, they are going to overpower you. If you channel them properly and you learn to process them, then you'll be able to healthily deal with them. As opposed to suppress them, and then they suppress, and then they explode. Yeah.
So I'll tell you that I have heard this before, especially in certain aspects of psychology, and I'm totally 100,000% disagree with it. Completely, completely disagree with it. And it's certainly not, if you would see in all the writings of the Baal Shem Tov, 100,000% not in the derech of Rabbi Nachman for sure. And even more so in, the modern teachers of Rabbi Nachman, like Rav Arush, definitely not, right? But I personally, I've heard this in psychology, and I actually had a discussion with a very holy person about this, because I know some people who spend a lot of time dealing with this thing called inner child therapy, right? Which, could have a positive aspect to it, but the problem is that they focus on this aspect of inner child, and they're not able to leave it. They're not able to give it what it needs. I think that's problematic.
It's a channel to get you from the A to B. Then it's constructive.
So if you're able to look to your past and say, you know what, I see this happen to me, and it did something to me. You know what I would say? Okay, thank you Hashem for giving me this lesson, and I see that I needed that, and I'm moving forward. And it's just this whole business of all this aspect of facing these things like this. I believe very strongly in my experience and in a lot of stuff that I've seen and read, that it keeps people in the past, in the negative past, and they can't get out, and they think that I just got to go a little deeper. I have to. That's my problem.
I need to understand why.
I need to understand why 100%, and I got to figure out more about that aspect. And people spend years and years and years in negativity.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't your past happen. You can't change them.
Yeah.
But to deny that expression of anger
Yes.
and say I'm not angry when you actually are.
Yeah. We are saying to work on yourself to absolutely not express anger. The first step is to not express it outward, and the next step is to not express it inward. And how to not express it inward is 100% through working on emunah and understanding this whole situation, that whatever's happening to me, everything that's coming my way is a message for me. I can't get angry, right? Yeah, it takes time, it takes work, right? But whatever's going on, I have to step back. I have to remember, we didn't say this yet, this class, the word that Rabbi Nachman said at the beginning of this. The Gemara says, haba l'taher, someone who comes to be matahir, to do tshuva, to come close to Hashem. One of the things the Gemara says is hamtein, omrim le hamtein. Say to him, wait. Hold off, just wait. And this aspect, there's many beautiful aspects to this, if you remember. But one of them is just you're in a situation, just wait. Pause. This is a piece of advice that is like for every life situation you're in. Just pause. Step back for a second. What's happening? What's going on? Think about emunah. Pause, go to emunah, what's happening to me, and then I'm able to do something positive. Then I can deal with this situation, right? As opposed to letting it all out and then going back and trying to figure it out, right? Pause, emunah. Thank you, Hashem, for my messages. Thank you for taking care of me every single moment of my whole life, helping me to figure out what I need to figure out to grow.
Because what you say is you can't take it back. That's what the pause or hold buttons for.
Yes, definitely.
We call it the 3 Ps: pause, process, and pray.
Ah, not bad. Can we trademark that? Is that? No, Yana, you with me a little bit? You with me a little bit, or are we having a machlokes l'shem shemaim?
Everything is different.
Baruch Hashem. Yeshkoyach, everybody. All the best.